Feliz Navidad, bum, 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 bum. Feliz Navidad, dun, 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 dun. Feliz Navidad, prospero año e felicidad. Aha! Yay! It's Monday, and that's one step closer to the Yule and to Christmas and to all the goodness that December brings, y'all. That's all I'm saying. Happy Monday! It's Bernadette, and I am here with your pick a card daily tarot reading for Monday, December 6th, 2021. I'm trying, like many of you, I'm trying to forget that number. Actually, not really. Which is very interesting. I said I was trying to forget that number because I always say don't try to forget anything because it's part of your past. It's there. It's never going away. It's part of your DNA, and you just got to heal with it, deal with it, do whatever. But it's really interesting because dun, 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 Feliz Navidad. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, by the way, remember I told you guys last week about the Christmas sweater? Yes, here it is. And if you can see, my chihuahua, my chihuahua, yay! Spanish cultures, I love them. The food, the music, I love it. Okay, back to the reading. I hope everybody had a really awesome weekend. And hey, y'all, listen, thank you for all of the messages and the texts and the emails and everything about the monthly horoscopes because holy guacamole, I really think I've just got to write a book all about synchronicities because the stories that you guys share and what I love about what you all do is that all you wild ones out there, wild and spicy, like a red hot chili pepper. You guys do the same as I do. You send proof, and it's just absolutely blows my mind. You'd think I'd be used to it by 30 years of doing all this, but it's the magic. It's just still, it just gets to me, y'all. It just gets to me. All right, so without further ado, the card and the tarot card and the spirit totem and power animal that are visiting you on this Monday for this pick a card daily tarot reading is ta-da! The Six of Cups. And I don't know why I didn't think about this last time, y'all, when I was sharing the screen and everything. I had my whole site up in the ads and the whole 9 yards. And which, by the way, someone was kind enough to contact me over the weekend and explain to me how unprofessional it was for me to have ads all over my site because I was a spiritual leader. Really? No, I'm not. But they seem to think so. And says truly spiritual people, there's nothing attached that's about money. And I'm like, well, okay, this spiritual girl's got to feed herself and feed her cat. So thank you very much for the suggestion. But here's the thing. All of the information on there is free. And if you are just joining me for the first time, then you will see that I share information from one of my websites, buildingbeautifulsouls.com. And the other one, well, one of the other ones, whatismyspiritanimal.com. And the reason that I do that is many of you pull cards for yourself, even if you're not, if you're not a professional reader or you don't want to be a professional reader, you just keep the cards or you look for all the symbolism and you connect all the dots, for your own daily life or maybe for friends, family, whatever. And I hope to give you a reading every day. And then, of course, when the readings come out. But my hope is also, oh, wait, did I say that? Ha ha! You got me. I got myself. My choice is to share information that will give you maybe a broader perspective or get you to know a little more about a particular card or a particular animal, right? So I do the deep dive. I just don't flip cards or, talk about animals and move on about my merry business. We take a little bit of a deep dive into it. So, again, without further ado, 20 minutes later, the Six of Cups, which is a fascinating card to come out for a Monday because, Mondays are the root chakra, and the moon is the planetary influence for Mondays. And that makes sense because Mondays are kind of mopey and they're like, oh God, the weekend didn't last long enough. And I get all that, but this is just really going to dovetail into everything that the Six of Cups, the archetypes in it told me, and that really this card is about for you all today. And the Spirit Totem and Power Animal, which in my deck is the Otter. So for those of you who are just joining me, I'm Bernadette King, and I am the creator and publisher of the award-winning history-making Arcanimal Tarot and Oracle deck. And in my deck, the Otter is the Six of Cups. So, one of the things that's important to know about the Six of Cups is it's a fantastic card. I mean, it is just like, walking through the park and reminiscing, right? That old song. It's such a beautiful song. And it's about a spiritual communion and reunion. It's about maybe a family or a friend reunion or communion. It might be about your own self, or like maybe there's a part of yourself that you really are like, man, I just really need to be that person again, or whatever happened to that person. That said, one of the cautions of this happy, happy, joy, joy, I got the joy, 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 joy down in my heart. That's awesome. But if the old story that you're telling yourself is down in your root chakra, which today is a great day to examine that, because the Six of Cups is obviously a water element card. That's the emotions. Otter is a water element animal, even though they're like shaman. They live in the water, and they live in two different realities, in the water and on the land. So today is just like the day to really take that. I don't know why I'm really attached to the word deep dive all of a sudden today. I just keep hearing deep dive, 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 dive. In any event, it's just a really good day to deep dive into stories that you might be continuing to tell yourself that are just they're not useful anymore. And your spirit is probably tired of hearing it. Your soul's definitely tired of hearing it. And it might be that friends and family and coworkers are tired of hearing it. Because when we stay stuck in that loop, and we're talking about if it's trauma, drama, something that hasn't been healed yet, that nature of thing, when we stay in that loop, it's just no bueno, because that inhibits our ability to fill that sacred space with something better, grander, more healthy, more joyous, because really that's what the Six of Cups is all about. The converse part of that is when you're talking about the Six of Cups and now you're going to marry the otter symbolism with it. Okay, that is all about the play. That's all about having playmates, and that you can be your own playmate, right? It's just, if you're just joining me, I cannot express enough my disdain for the words inner child, and yet, just because it's so overused, but I haven't been able to find anything that really kind of says the same thing. But it's that childhood dreaming, and it's the child, because we didn't know to choose when we were children, right? It's that magic that we're attached to. It's just the ability to just have fun. It's just, that's it. You just go, whatevs, and off to the races you go. Now, when we are talking about the Six of Cups, on my site, you'll see, and I have thousands and thousands of free articles between the two sites. And actually, What is My Spirit Animal and Building Beautiful Souls are one of the two of the 3 or 4 largest metaphysical portals on the internet. They get over 1 million views a month, so I got to be doing something right? I'm glad you guys are liking it. But I like to make sure that everybody knows what the metaphysical correspondences are with a card or with an animal, that kind of thing. So the zodiac sign of this card is Scorpio, which, again, we're going to go back to that deep, deep dive of emotions. And again, when you're talking about, maybe the Six of Cups, even upright, it may, this tarot card, and again, for those of you who don't know, my deck, the Arc deck, is the tarot. Why am I It's Monday. My lips aren't warmed up yet. My deck, the Arc, is based on the Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot, those traditional tarot card meanings, right? So when you take a look at the Six of Cups being a Scorpio card, you know that Scorpios are about death and rebirth, death and rebirth. And so today, we really want to say, down with the old stories, death to the old stories that no longer serve us anymore. And, welcome, welcome, welcome to creating new stories, or just, anytime you start to attach to an old tired story, an old reminiscing that's just, crunchy, it's like a Pavlovian thing. Instantly go to something that makes sense. Instantly go to something that you that makes you happy, that brings you joy. Now, the number 6 in numerology is very associated, obviously, with the 6 of Cups. Well, if you take a look in the traditional in numerology, the number 6 corresponds to Venus, and that's where we receive love, right? Okay, so today being Monday, we're talking about the moon. We're talking about the root chakra. It's about joy. It's about love. It's about the feelings of love. It's about the feelings of, when you take a look at the traditional symbols that are in this card, you see the two standing there, a little bit older, a little bit younger. Every one of those symbols, for those of you that are learning the tarot, and for those of you that are practicing intuitive tarot, the it, I go through in my site, like at the cup of the garden pillar shows the 6 of Cups. It's a card of pleasure. It's also a reference to the Ace of Cups. A lot of people don't know all those little details. So let's say that you are kind of really, you're like, why is that there? Why is that? And you're just really drawn to it, knowing that in the Rider Waite Smith, tarot symbolism, that this is a hearkening back to, or a hearkening forward to, the Ace of Cups. It's just reinforcing that this is a card of magical gifts, a card of plentiful kinds of, anything your heart should choose will come to you, right? So you can go through these articles and just see what each symbol in there means, because as we are taking a look at the meanings on here, or even at the card, then you might be, for your reading today, you might be drawn to something very specific. Now, otters, of course, they symbolize, fun and family and child, just playfulness. And overall, that's what they, symbolize. Now, something that's interesting was, I was just kind of, it's been it's been years since I wrote this article. And, after years of something being out there, you forget the exact words that you use. But Otter is a footloose soul who doesn't have the patience for jealousy. And I remembered, it was funny because here's this card talking about reminiscing, right? And I remember when this was written, I had to pull up YouTube and, play me some, and you gotta get loose, foot loose, kick off your Sunday shoes. And, so it was a whole thing that all of us 80s kids had with Footloose. But I kept hearing that this morning for you guys. And honestly, it really is that whole dance like no one's watching. And even if they are, dance harder. And that's the message for you all today. Now, you guys, I have a new format that I've been doing. So I'm going to move right along to the very specific things in the format. Which are, I want to go right into, so you've got your tarot card for today, that's the 6 of Cups. You've got your spirit animal for today, that's the otter. And just real quickly, just a little bit more about the otter. Just because they're playful and they can be childish, that does not mean that they are not focused when they need to be focused. It doesn't mean that they don't know their environment or know. It doesn't mean that they're not smart. They may be the smartest of us all. They get how to survive and thrive, as well as get business done that they need to get done. And that's, for me, that's a great lesson. Workaholic, right? It's a super great lesson. So, all right, moving on. We are, pardon me now, for those of you, again, just joining me, I started a new format of daily tarot readings last week, which is everybody comes for a different reason, right? So the one card, the one spirit animal, the one tarot card, size fits all for every reason and every season. It can be that way, but I'm more of a granular reader. I'm more of a specifics reader. So for instance, right now we're going to talk about, I'm moving into the pick a card relationship reading. So if you're here about a relationship with yourself, it can be with a loved one of any kind. It can be with a coworker. It could be with a job. It could be with a fur baby. It could be your relationship with whatever you believe in spiritually. But when I when I step into that as a reader and I listen to the information being told to me, I literally have the vision of this fella, and please don't take offense to this word. It's not politically correct to say this anymore. But when this deck was written and when it was created, saying dwarf was just a fine reference, because it actually means the fantasy dwarf, not like an actual small person, right? Like we call them today, little people. So I just see him turning around and actually looking for the little girl. He knows she's coming, and he's already prepared with the gold chalice and the white lily. He's prepared to hand her that gift. He's prepared to have a beautiful reunion. And so if you're here today for your relationship tarot reading, then I would say that really it's about trust. It's not about looking for anyone or anything. It's just trusting that you've put out, excuse me, that you've put out enough energy and enough, saying to the universe what you're choosing, that whatever relationship you want or don't want, that's coming and it's going. And what that means is, have you ever heard, well, Whitney Houston made it like famouser, but Dolly Parton's, what is it? If I should stay, I would only be. I will always love you, dirt. Okay, so it's like that. So even if you've got a relationship that is got to come to an end, exit that relationship with good memories, with as peacefully as you can, as lovingly as you can, and if you are choosing a relationship, or you're deciding whether to choose that relationship, see if the Six of Cups tarot card and the Otter as a spirit totem and power animal, see if you can just sit with them and ask them to give you very specific messages about moving forward. But in my estimation, when this card shows up and somebody's asking about relationships, it's a clear sign that it's going to go really, really well if they can let go of any relationship that they're hanging on to from the past that's just really taking up unnecessary sacred space in their heart. So there's that. Okay, so then we're going to move on to the pick a card love reading. Now, a love reading is not the same thing as a relationship reading. I have relationships with a lot of people. I don't love them. I mean, I love them because they're human beings, but I don't love them. You get the difference. So if you're here, about the love, because it really is all you need. And if you're here about that, I'm very, very drawn to Otter symbolism. And I'm feeling like, you guys must have seen the video or the meme that it's been around for years. It's had a gajillion views of the two otters that are sleeping, but their little otter flippers are clasped like hands. Or you might have seen, the mom otter with the baby otter resting on her chest, and they're floating around, having a grand old time, just totally trusting of the world, with the mom with her belly turned up, which to any animal, if an animal exposes their belly to you, that is it. That's saying that they trust you, and it's asking really in their own way for you to be gentle with them and kind and good to them. Because think about it, exposing your soft underbelly, right? So there's something about this that if you have love on your mind, I just keep hearing there's not enough physical contact. You're not as physically demonstrative as you could be. Maybe the physical has waned, the physical connection, the intimacy, whatever that means in your relationship. Maybe that's waned a little bit, because I keep seeing the otter reaching her hand out, her flipper out, and being the first one to extend the hand. Not like an olive branch, but just in love, right? Just to break the ice, or to, it can be easy in any relationship. It doesn't matter what relationship it is. It can be super easy to just go on about your merry business, taking each other for granted, or just, this is the rhythm that we get into. And you can forget to just reaching out and patting somebody on the head, not in a demeaning way, or patting their cheek, or just blowing him a kiss or well, you really need to touch him physically, but, and you know what I mean by that. So all of that being said, that's what I'm being told from Otter for you all today. It really is about the touch. It's about the physical touch. Okay, so moving on, we are going to your pick a card career reading. And if you've come this morning and you are, kind of looking for inspiration or signs about your career, this is so cool. So I keep seeing the little girl so the little girl, she represents the future, right? Okay. I just keep seeing the little girl peering over the golden chalice that Homeboy gives her, and there's beautiful water in there, and she's scrying. If you all don't know what scrying is, it's the ancient divinatory method whereby you look into water, and that's how you go into trance, and you wait for your visions to appear in the water. And so she's looking in the water, and what she's seeing is that she's got a skill set. Pardon me, y'all. She's got a skill set that either hasn't been being used at its full potential or worked with at its full potential, or she's just forgotten that she once upon a time loved doing something and was actually good at it. So whatever's going on in your career, it's important that you maybe take something that you're currently doing that you like okay and find a way to love it, or take something that you're doing or want to do and remember you've got the skill set. You've just got to dust it off and polish it, and you're going to be great to go. And this is especially true if you're looking at changing careers or changing jobs like in a major way. It's super important. And the other thing that she's doing when she's scrying, and I'm seeing her look in the water in the chalice, I'm looking at layers, and in my psychic mind, what I'm seeing is that those layers represent past lives. So just as a for instance, my sister many years ago, she did a dinner theater for this program that she was running with these kids in an after school program, and there were like 400 parents showing up to this thing, and they'd pay for tickets and whatever. Well, the chick that was supposed to run the kitchen, at least the ovens, she literally bailed literally 2 hours before the event. So I was on the way to see it because, dinner theater with a bunch of elementary school kids. Who doesn't love a few drinks in that, right? So I'm ding in the kitchen. Hey, big sis. And she grabs me and she just like drags me to the kitchen. She's like, I need your help, and you can't say no. And I'm like, okay. So she says, you have to run the cooking. I'm like, what? I don't cook. We'll make the stuff. You just have to be responsible for putting it in the oven and getting it out when it's finished and making sure that the pasta is replenished and this is replenished. And I'm like, I don't know the timing on all that. This stuff's either going to come out raw or it's going to come out like a brick. She said, figure it out. She went on about her merry business. So I went into a meditation, and I said, and it was very quick because there was complete chaos, such chaos around me. But I asked the universe, I said, look, I know somewhere in my DNA, at some time or other, I had to have experience in either a commercial kitchen or the staff kitchen of like a king or a czar or I know how to cook in my DNA. I know how to do this. Y'all got to show up for me. It was otherworldly. I mean, for the next 6 hours, I slung lasagna in and out of those ovens, and ravioli and pasta. And furthermore, the volunteers that were helping with the serving and the this and the that, all of a sudden I was acting like I was a food runner, and I was barking orders. But you know where that came from? A past life or 2 or 3. Why I'm going into all of this is, we start getting towards the end of the year, and we start thinking about a lot of change. Okay. But there are so many people changing careers because of the pandemic that this card just makes a lot of sense for the right now. So I hope that's very helpful. All right. So This is your, if you're here for your health, your pick a card health reading. Let me just say, I don't delve too much into health for all of the many reasons I've stated previously over the years. But I've had so much of it come to me lately, and really always it has. I just haven't wanted to go into it, that I just was told loosen up a little bit, lighten up, and so I'm doing like surface level health readings, and what I'm shown from Otter. Yeah, this doesn't really have anything to do with the Six of Cups. This is straight up Otter as a spirit totem and power animal. So otters are very limber. I mean, if you've ever tried to hold an otter, they just become just like this, and they'll slide whether they're wet or not. They'll just shimmy. They just shimmy right out of your hand. They become like liquid gold. They're like mercury. They just somehow drain right out of your arms. It's the craziest thing. There's something about flexibility that is, if you're here about health, this is going to be about being flexible, not just of your body, but of your mind and your spirit. You've got something in your head that you think is, well, actually, I'm seeing it like an equal balance, where some of you will have something in your head about your health where you're just convinced you're right, you're not. And the others of you are convinced, what I'm hearing is you're not taking it seriously enough. And so, again, if you're here for your pick a card health reading, if today was about health, I'm not a licensed medical professional of any kind. This is for edutainment purposes only. I just am really drawn to the otter, so drawn to it. And I keep hearing it's about being limber, but it's really more about being flexible. And there's just some kind of flexibility that is, it's just calling you. So whatever that will mean to you, and maybe this has to do with the relaxation part of it. Maybe it's a roundabout way of saying, relax, don't do it. No. Frankie goes, I'll be here all day singing that song, and then it'll be like the mirror ball will be spinning. Anyway, okay. So, and wrapping up, it is the pick a card money reading. Your pick a card money reading. Now, money is very different than career. Money is very different than career. And what I'm hearing for you all that are here today about finances, don't shoot the messenger. Just don't shoot the messenger. If you're here today about finances, chances are you have not yet learned how to adult. Chances are you don't know the basics of saving or investing. And you may be sitting there going, I live paycheck to paycheck. How the heck am I going to do any of that? I understand that. I do. I grew up in poverty. Not just poverty. Poverty. We was po. We couldn't even afford, as I always say, we couldn't even afford the extra OR and poor. So I understand what it takes to get up and out. And here's what it takes. The willingness to work hard, the willingness to work smart, the willingness to go after what you want that you know will bring you, well, what you want, what you choose. I was watching, there's a new show on Netflix, and it's very short. It's like 6 or 7 episodes, and it's called School of Chocolate, or Chocolate School, or something like that. And there's just this really awesome guy on there, and he's just so committed to his wife and his family. And he gets really choked up when he says chefs don't make a lot of money. And he, basically what he's saying is he feels so guilty that he isn't able to provide for his family that he loves so much better because he chooses to be a chef. But I will bet you a dime to a donut that his family loves to see him love what he does. And they're very happy to live within those parameters of finances. So if you're one of those people that are like, you just are living paycheck to paycheck, or you don't have a job right now and that's stressing you out, or you don't know what the heck you want to be when you grow up, but you know you've got to start to churn and burn the cash, I would really encourage you to start, and this is not professional financial advice, I'm just saying that according to the Six of Cups and the Otter, it's about, if you know that you know that you know something will bring you pleasure, and you could do it all the time without losing the pleasure of that, then that's what you should choose to do. Because where there's a will, there's a way. Now that might sound like a pep talk from Mama Bear, and it is, but if you've never watched animals in the wild, when they have their eye on something, they are relentless. Relentless, because usually it means survival. And so I would encourage you to think of this, this part of the reading today, the daily reading about, money is, I guess, do you just want to get by, barely survive? Or do you really want to survive and thrive? And only you can answer that. I will tell you this. This is opinion based on 30-something years of being in business for myself and having some crashes that were just epic blow-ups in my face, and then having a few, done good, right? If you'll get to be excellent at something, whatever that is, the business will find you. Your reputation will precede you, and people will encourage you, and they will recommend you. So, I hope that was helpful. Pick up your copy of the Arc Animal Tarot and Oracle deck. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please hit the little ringy dingy bell thingy so that you get all of the updates. Please like this video so that Google, who owns YouTube, will fall in love with me and all the animals and all the work we do here. So, again, all of that said, I really thank you for tuning in. But above all else, what's most important? To do good for animals and stay wild.